Welcome to Catholic Feedback. I'm your host, Keith Nestor. And have you seen an increase in the need for exorcists since you've been doing this?
Absolutely. And that need is due to the paganization of Western culture, right? So with the abandonment of Christendom and Christianity as being the worldview of Western society. So, you think about 70 years ago, American society, Canadian society, Mexican society, it's that French society, we were Christian. That's what we were, right? That was the dominant worldview. It affected our laws. It affected our public morality. It affected every aspect of life. Well, that worldview has been eclipsed. And so with a secular slash pagan worldview, now what we have is demons don't have those, the fences have been torn down. And people are now dabbling because they lack a moral compass. They lack a worldview to give them a kind of protection as to how to deal with the occult realm and how to deal with evil in general. And most people don't even believe that the devil exists. And so, what's wrong with contacting a fortune teller just for kicks? What's wrong with going and getting a Reiki session at my local spa? What's wrong with joining the Freemasons? What's wrong with using a Ouija board or dabbling in some other occult act, right? Well, what you're doing is you are giving permission for the demons to latch on to you.
Now, most people that you encounter, if I'm not mistaken, they don't start off by saying, "Today I would like to become possessed by a demon." What are the steps? These are things that happen without people's full awareness. I don't want to say without their consent, because I think that there has to be an element at some point of consent. But what do you see as some of the most common ways that people allow demonic influence into their lives?
Yeah, so the most common, it come down to two. One, I've already mentioned, is an act of the occult. So dabbling with the Ouija board, tarot cards, astrology, or so forth. And why is that? Because it is a direct violation of the first commandment, which in the first commandment, we are denying the right of God to be God. And in so doing, there's an implicit declaration, I am God. I am going to bypass the limits that he has imposed on me in reality. So the limits whereby, my knowledge is curtailed of hidden events. Well, I'm going to go get that knowledge. Where my power has been limited in that I'm unable to physically attack somebody without consequence. So I'm going to spiritually attack them by way of a curse. So in doing this kind of thing and violating the first commandment, we are replicating the rebellion of Satan and his fallen angels. Right? That is an act of divine rebellion, right? A rebellion against God and his law. So that makes you, that repetition of the sin of Satan makes you his personal property. You belong to the devil in the state of sin. And in that particular sin, you are configuring yourself to his heart. And that makes you really, it not only gives him rights to possess, but it makes you really appealing as to be his own property and possession. The second type of sin, whereby possession most commonly occurs, is through sexual sin. And why is that? Because the sexual faculty within a human being is the most beautiful one. It is the one by which we most resemble God. A man and woman come together in an act of love, and that act of love is so strong that 9 months later, they will have to give it a name. And so that way by which we participate in creation with God is something so beautiful. There is no more beautiful human activity. because of that beauty, the devil is going to be all over it, trying to mar it and disfigure it.
Given that and those things that you mentioned, is it possible for people to be possessed and never know it?